Welcome back to the show. We're here live in San Francisco, but you know what? With the Patriots and Seahawks set to play in Super Bowl 60, Dan, I think it's time we take a trip down memory lane. How can we not talk about the Super Bowl 11 years ago, Super Bowl 49? Patriots beat the Seahawks 28-24, the infamous Malcolm Butler game. Dan, when you think about that game, what's like the very first memory you have from that?
So many memories, but we're sitting by that end zone upstairs, and when they came out with to run the play, I'm not a football guy, as everyone knows, but I said, this doesn't look like a run play. It's 2nd and 1 from the 1. What are they doing? It's either a read option or he's actually going to put it in the air. And evidently, from your interview with Ernie Adams, they knew the trends of Seattle. They like to throw a slant pass from the 1, and here it comes. And the Patriots, of course, went through it on the ballroom on Friday and walked through it, and Malcolm Butler's in the spot, go Malcolm, all that stuff. But sitting up there, I'm like, this is the dumbest call in the history of sports. And I filed it that way in the Globe. And Brian McGrory, God bless him, who's back as the editor of the Globe, editor. And he called the press box. He said, are you sure you want to go this strong on this? I'm saying, yes, it's the stupidest call in the history of sports. Basically, Seattle won the Super Bowl, and Pete said, nah, I don't think so. I think we're going to try this instead. So he handed you one. After being hired by Bob Kraft, 20 years earlier, he finally delivered a Super Bowl championship to the Patriots in that game in 2002.
Yeah, just a wild turn of events for the Patriots. Heart palpitations across New England. You mentioned Ernie Adams. I got to sit down with Ernie, and we talked about that game, shared some stories, and wrote about it in the Globe. He had some insight. First of all, he said the slant pass on the goal line with the pick, that was their go-to play. So that was something that the Seahawks had run all year long. That was their bread and butter play. The Patriots, they studied it. They were ready for it. And he said what they should have done, frankly, well, if they tried to run in that situation, the Patriots would have had an unblocked defender because of the 3 wide receivers. Probably would have been Ninkovich screaming into the backfield. Yeah. Ernie referenced the game from 2003 against the Colts, exact same situation where Willie McGinnis stuffed Edgerrin James in the backfield. So once they sent the 3 receivers in, they had to pass the ball. What they should have done is send 2 tight ends in and try to run the ball. But, Dan, that was such a wild week. And, frankly, before even the interception, the Patriots, they got off the plane in Phoenix on Monday, and Robert Kraft threw down the gauntlet for the NFL.
Did. Yeah, he was feisty when he got to the press conference on Sunday night in Arizona. The Deflategate thing was exploding all around them, and he threw down the gauntlet, as you say, and said, I demand an apology. I will demand an apology from the NFL moving forward, this and that. And, of course, a few months later, he went to the league meetings in San Francisco and rolled over and gave them everything they wanted, took the suspensions, all that stuff went down. A crazy time in Patriot history, the beginning of the revenge tour of the Patriots, which goes on to this day. I think the Wells Report in context is still out there if you check the website. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's still live, absolutely. Yeah, just, with Deflategate exploding all around, just a wild week. And then, of course, the game, just took such a crazy right turn with the interception at the end. I got to catch up with Malcolm Butler this week for a story on BostonGlobe.com. Malcolm Butler still has the truck that Tom Brady gifted him. Tom Brady got the game MVP, but he gave the truck to Malcolm Butler for the interception. Obviously, it has only about 15,000 miles. Malcolm Butler now living in Houston, coaching some high school football, so he's doing well in life. But, what a life-changing event for so many people. For him, for Pete Carroll, for the Seahawks, just a crazy, crazy game.
Benny, the next year I went to the Seattle with the Red Sox for a road trip, and I said, instead of writing about the Seattle Mariners and the Red Sox, I'm going to the streets of Seattle to ask these fans how they can still have Pete Carroll here coaching their team. I said, in Boston, Grady Little, Don Zimmer, you're gone. You couldn't go back and face those fans after giving a championship back to New England the way he did then.
Yeah, pretty wild. So anytime you see Patriots and Seahawks, on the Super Bowl docket, we'll be lucky if we can get a game as nearly as iconic as that game was. And that was the game that jump-started it all for the Patriots. Their 4th title. This is their first one in a decade. Really a validating moment for the franchise.